Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. Some Thunder Bay City Council members are at odds with city staff over the merits of adding a new managerial position at City Hall. The hiring of a risk management specialist would come at a cost of $125,000 per year. But some councillors are skeptical about whether the position is even needed. Vasilios Bellos reports.
We just went through this exercise where we had an estimated liability, the James Whalen tugboat that sank and cost taxpayers about $1 million.
During this week's meeting, City Council considered adding a manager of enterprise risk position beginning in 2024, coming with a price tag of $125,000. The individual would be tasked with implementing an enterprise risk management policy, essentially tracking and mitigating city risks more efficiently. The hiring led to a heated debate, as some councillors pointed to the sinking of the James Whalen tug or the collapse of the River Street culvert as issues that could have been prevented by a risk manager. Mayor Ken Boshkov, who has already been vocal about what he calls a high ratio of city staff to population, felt the department manager should already be carrying out these duties.
We should be buying into this as just a general part of our human resources and our risk management thinking right now. What's the problem? It's like saying the managers that we have can't learn this whole new concept just because it came out last month and it's going to be popular.
Some council members were skeptical of investing funds into risk management, while others felt having this position would save the city money in the long run. City Solicitor Patty Robinett cannot provide any specific savings when it comes to employing a risk manager, but says it's top of mind for insurance providers.
One of the very specific questions we are asked by our broker and the underwriters who are looking to insure us, for instance, in general liability insurance across the corporation and for our local boards, is do we have a risk manager? And this in these years, the answer is no.
Councillors like Shelby Chung believed a risk manager would be an important addition to the municipality, stressing that Thunder Bay is already falling behind without one.
Introduced a communications department. 30 years ago, we had this, well, can't a manager write a letter? Can't a manager talk to the media? Can't a manager, figure out the logo? Or yeah, they totally can, but they're not experts in that field.
In the end, council voted to receive a report back from administration providing more information related to the position. While that's underway, staff say the city will continue to implement the risk management initiative in 2023 with the help of a consultant. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
A Red Rock man has been charged with arson 9 months after a major house fire in that community. The residential property was in the process of being sold in a tax sale by the township when the fire was discovered. The home on Red Rock Road number 4 was already engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived on March 18th. Investigators with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office were on scene for several days afterward, searching for a cause, while OPP monitored the scene. A suspect was taken in for questioning at that time, and now 69-year-old Lloyd Dupuis has been charged with arson. The OPP say Dupuis still owned the home when the fire was started, as the tax sale hadn't been completed yet. But the township of Red Rock is now left without the proceeds. Dupuis was released from custody, and his next court date is scheduled for January 17th. Thunder Bay Police have charged 7 teenagers with assault after a series of incidents on the city's north side on December 12th. Police say the initial assault on the 15-year-old victim took place near Oak Avenue. A short while later, a second attack on the same student occurred in a bathroom at Hammersholt High School, with multiple assailants involved in both incidents. A 16-year-old boy, 2 15-year-old boys, a 15-year-old girl, and 3 14-year-old girls have all been charged with assault, with future court dates scheduled. It was a special day for the Thunder Bay Police Service as the force welcomed 4 new constables. The latest recruits received their badges at the City Courthouse this morning.
Our warm wishes and our appreciation of your service as our new constables.
Justice Vince Scaramuzza led the swearing-in ceremony, which officially welcomed new constables Tori Alexander, Dylan Coltis, Brian Mollison, and Brett Wolframe. Each of them took their oaths, listened to the police officer's code of ethics, and were presented with their badges by Acting Chief Dan Taddeo. In addition to going through the extensive training at Ontario Police College, Taddeo says the 4 recruits have all been strongly involved in the local community, which he says is a prerequisite for becoming a constable.
It's a very long and arduous trek, so to speak. We look for candidates with a lot of life experience that they can bring to the police service, and these 4 newest constables certainly bring that. Law enforcement is such a small part of our job, especially in Thunder Bay, dealing with a lot of social issues, and we still remain and will be the bottom of the social safety net.
I'm incredibly happy. It's a fantastic opportunity. My family and I have been working towards it for quite a long time. This is just the realization of a very long-term dream. I'm looking forward to serving the Thunder Bay community. It's a fantastic place. I've lived all over Canada and been all over the world, and you're hard-pressed to find a place better than this. It's an absolute honor to represent the Thunder Bay Police Service and the people of Thunder Bay.
Along with being the spokesperson for the 4 new constables, Mollison was also the valedictorian for his class at the Ontario Police College. Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland was in the western part of his riding today with a slew of funding announcements for the Atikokan area. In total, more than $2 million was dispersed to a dozen local and regional organizations and businesses. Lee Noonan has the details.
The Atikokan General Hospital came away with the biggest sum, receiving just under $800,000 from the Ministry of Health to upgrade critical infrastructure. The grant will be used to bring the hospital's emergency sprinkler system up to code.
The province has recognized the need to help healthcare providers address urgent infrastructure needs, such as upgrades and replacements of roofs, windows, security systems, and fire alarms systems and backup generators.
The sprinkler is a legislative requirement, and it's also for the safety of the patients and residents. We're really excited to begin the work, and the commitment of the province and the ministry is very evident, and we're really hoping that this support continues as we still have more critical infrastructure that needs to be dealt with in the near future.
Vance Like says the hospital still needs an estimated $2 to $3 million for a new HVAC system, and that they hope to secure funding to complete phase 2 of a planned redevelopment. The hospital was also one of 4 local employers to receive NOHFC internship funding. They'll be bringing on a rehab aide. Holland also announced more than $600,000 in NOHFC funding for local businesses, with the lion's share, nearly $540,000, going to the Biopower Energy Corporation to support the expansion of their wood pellet production.
During the campaign, I ran on making sure that Atikokan was included and had all the opportunities available to the rest of the riding. And I'm really happy to support these initiatives and these applications that have come in through the NOHFC fund.
Finally, a number of local and regional community organizations received funds to improve their facilities. A total of $702,000 is going to 5 organizations, namely Community Living Atikokan, 2 women's shelters, and 2 child and family service organizations. The announcement was Holland's first in Atikokan since being elected last June.
It is our pleasure to host Kevin Holland in Atikokan. We'd love to see him coming, especially when he's coming with some money for us. So, the infrastructure grants that we're getting in Atikokan. Atikokan is, we have a lot of facilities, and there's a lot of upkeep in our facilities, and it's a struggle as it is to maintain what we're doing.
Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Former Thunder Bay resident Ray Lalonde is now a 4-time champion on the popular game show Jeopardy! After another victory in last night's show. And for the 2nd episode in a row, Lalonde managed to win despite missing the correct response in Final Jeopardy!
I know what it is now.
What is it?
Here Comes Santa Claus.
The kids were saying, "Here Comes Santa Claus," and songwriter Gene Autry was inspired to write the song. That's correct. So you will lose something. Will it be enough? $9,600, leaving you with $10,500 by just $700. You keep the title. Your 4-day total, $95,300.
Lalonde was born and raised in Thunder Bay and left the city in 1981 to attend university in Toronto, where he still lives and works as a scenic artist in the entertainment industry. Lalonde will play again tonight, and a fifth victory will guarantee that he'll be invited to the Tournament of Champions. We'll have the results of his latest match on the late edition at 11. Fort William Gardens is taking a step forward in helping Thunder Bay get closer to a net zero future, as the city introduced its first fully electric, zero-emissions ice resurfacer this afternoon. The Ice Wolf electric ice resurfacer does all the same things as a traditional propane ice resurfacer, except without putting out emissions. Because of that, it provides cleaner air for the athletes on the ice, the spectators, and the employees. The $137,000 unit is also safer and more ergonomic for employees to operate. The ice resurfacer is expected to save the city approximately $4,000 a year in maintenance and fuel costs. Fleet Services Manager Doug Glenna says it's a step in the right direction towards the city's goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2050.
We are right now going through a feasibility study for electrifying some of our larger fleet, such as transit buses, Lift Plus buses, and garbage packers. We expect that study to be completed in 2023, and then we will move forward with bringing information to council and recommendations for the future. In the meantime, we have 2 electric half-tons in our proposed 2023 budget. Pending council approval, we'll be going to procurement for those in 2023.
The new ice resurfacer will replace the propane-powered unit currently used at the Gardens. That unit stopped working at a Thunder Wolves game last year after the propane tank needed replacing midway through the cleaning of the ice surface. Today's frigid weather was at least good for one thing: flooding the city's outdoor rinks. Last week's warmer temperatures and heavy snow caused setbacks for city crews, but now all the supervised rinks should be open to the public by the end of today. The city's newest boarded rink is at the Dease Park, and it will be ready for skating tonight. Staff have been busy throughout the day flooding the rinks and preparing them for users. At this point, some of the unsupervised rinks may not be ready by tonight, as that will depend on when city crews can get to them. Parks and Open Spaces Manager Corey Halverson explains the difficulties the weather brings when trying to open up city rinks.
It does take time, and it has to be coordinated with the snow events. So if we flood at the wrong time and then the snow comes in, then that can set us back. So it really is a bit of a balancing act, and we need the consistent cold weather without the snow to really get the ice built up so you have a nice safe base level.
Meanwhile, the Vickers Park Skating Trail, which was very popular last year, will also be open by the end of the day. It'll be an improved experience this winter, with the trail being twice as long as it was last year, spanning most of the north end of the park. The city website has a full list of supervised and unsupervised rinks, as well as their hours of operation. Ski season is in full swing at local ski hills, which looks forward to the increased traffic during the holiday season. Officials at Mount Baldy are hoping to have their brand new chairlift up and running very soon. And as Mike Lang reports, they're also planning to offer a free ski day on Christmas Eve to help make the sport available to everyone.
Mount Baldy's new quad chairlift is ready but not open. While it was completed earlier in the fall, there's still one final step in the process that co-owner Dan Cardis and his staff have been waiting on, and that is approval by the Technical Standards and Safety Authority. The TSSA was expected to come and inspect the lift weeks ago, but that visit was delayed several times due to the bad weather in southern Ontario and Vancouver. It's now expected to happen in January, with the approval process taking 3 to 5 days. While Cardis says he is disappointed about the delays, he says that they are out of his control, and he remains optimistic that the lift will be approved shortly after the holidays.
With the storms, they haven't been able to get off that plane, which is sad news to us, definitely in the Christmas season. But what we're looking at is what they're saying is into the new year. First thing, they're coming here, they're slated to come, and hopefully TSSA and all the mechanics can sign everything off and we get that thing rolling. I've done everything I can to make it happen, and we're just keeping our heads up, keeping positive like we always do out here at Baldy, and hopefully we'll see her spinning and everyone will be out here, and then we'll have a real big party.
The chairlift will be able to transport 4 skiers at a time to the 1,600-foot summit, which will allow for Mount Baldy to handle far more traffic on their 10 ski runs. And while skiers will not have a chance to try the new chairlift during the holidays, They will be able to ski for free at Mount Baldy on December 24th, as the ski hill will be offering its 5th annual free ski day.
We do it for all of Thunder Bay and surrounding communities, which is, it's a hard time this time of year. We decided to give back to the community, and hopefully everyone can come out and enjoy it. It's free, but yeah, it ends up being really busy, and it's nice because people that are having a little bit harder time could come and enjoy it and enjoy the tubing and the skiing and enjoy the great conditions.
Cardis adds that the recent cold weather has allowed for them to run the snowmaking machines at full capacity to ensure the snow on the slopes is now in perfect condition. Mike Lang, TBT News.
Well, Fiona, like we had heard, the cooler weathers were great for flooding the ice rinks, but for someone who does some last-minute shopping, having to run around downtown, I have to disagree.
Yeah, it was definitely a cold day out there, and it was a cold night. We had wind chills hitting -35 in Thunder Bay, and that was a similar situation to the west. We had mostly cloudy skies, so not a lot to talk about as far as sky conditions are concerned, but it's all about the temperatures. Now, Fort Frances currently at -25. At this particular moment, they don't really have much of a wind chill to talk about because the winds are completely calm. That's not going to last for very long, but the winds are completely calm right now. But as you head further north into Kenora and Dryden, also at -24, and Red Lake at -23 with some light snow, the winds are a little bit more gusty. They also saw wind chills hit -35 up to, at times in some areas, -39 last night. At this hour, it's sitting closer to about the -30 range to the northwest. As we head further eastward, similar temperatures. We've got Sioux Lookout at -23, -22 in Armstrong, -20 in Greenstone. It wasn't quite as cold, but they're working on it. The cold is definitely coming from the west, so they're about a day or so behind under cloudy skies. Marathon currently at -16 and Sault Ste. Marie -9, but wind chills are definitely going to make it feel colder. At this time, it feels closer to about -14. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are going to see temperatures drop down to -20, and wind chills will hover around -28. Now, you might have noticed on the previous map, we are currently at -21, and wind chills are actually currently at -28. So it's really not going to cool down. The downside of it, if you're not a fan of shoveling, is that it comes with snow. So you either get the cold temperatures or you get the snow. And unfortunately, over the next 24 hours, it's definitely going to be more of the snow coming 3 to 6 centimeters and winds staying fairly light. We have a mixed bag in northwestern Ontario. We have extreme cold warnings to the far west in the Kenora and Fort Frances region, but areas to the north and moving kind of a northeasterly direction, it's a winter storm that is going to be working through its ways through the Great Lakes, sweeping by Thunder Bay and heading north and hitting some areas quite heavily. I'll have more details on what that will do for your next 24 and 48 hours later on in the news hour.
Well, thank you so much, Fiona. Well, Canada's inflation rate has dipped ever so slightly last month, but it's still nowhere near the Bank of Canada's target of 2%. We'll have those details for you when we return.
There's folks around the city that will be chasing meal programs or services like this one all day long.